From Neural Newscast, this is Deep Dive, exploring the moments that shape today.
Welcome back. I am Maya Kim, and we're looking at a date that stands as a crossroads for some of the most powerful voices of the last century.
And I'm Daniel Brooks. Today on Deep Dive, we're exploring February 21st. It's a date defined by a monumental tragedy in the American civil rights struggle, but remarkably, it's also the birth date of several figures who reshaped how we think about power, art, and identity.
We have to start with 1965. It was a Sunday afternoon at the Audubon Ballroom in Harlem. Malcolm X, who had recently founded the Organization of Afro-American Unity, was preparing to speak. He was only 39 years old, yet he had already lived several lifetimes of radical transformation.
The atmosphere was incredibly tense, Maya. Just days before, his home had been firebombed while he and his family were sleeping inside. As he stood on that stage to address the crowd, 3 gunmen rushed forward. He was shot multiple times right in front of his pregnant wife, Betty Shabazz, and their 4 daughters.
That's remarkable to think about the courage it took to stand on that stage. For decades, the narrative of his assassination was tied to 3 men from the Nation of Islam: Mujahid, Abdul Halim, Muhammad Aziz, and Khalil Islam. But the story took a significant turn recently, didn't it?
Exactly. While Halim confessed, he always maintained that Aziz and Islam were innocent. It actually took until 2021 for an investigation to uncover that the FBI and the NYPD had withheld key documents that could have exonerated them. Aziz was 83 when he was finally cleared. Khalil Islam had already passed away in 2009 without ever seeing justice.
It really highlights the complexities of his later life, Daniel. By 1965, he had moved away from the racial separatism of the Nation of Islam after his pilgrimage to Mecca. He returned as El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, advocating for a global human rights perspective rather than a strictly nationalist one.
Absolutely. He began to see systemic racism rather than white people themselves as the primary enemy. That shift made him a powerful bridge between different factions of the movement, which is perhaps why his loss was felt so deeply across the entire political spectrum.
Smoothing that transition, while we reflect on that loss, February 21st is also the birthday of another titan of the civil rights era, though in a very different arena. Barbara Jordan was born on this day in 1936.
Right, and her career was a series of incredible firsts. She was the first African-American woman from the Deep South ever elected to Congress. But many people remember her most vividly for her role on the House Judiciary Committee during the Watergate scandal.
Her voice was unmistakable, Daniel. When she gave her opening statement during those impeachment hearings, she spoke about the Constitution with such precision and moral authority. She famously said her faith in the Constitution was whole, even if it hadn't originally included people like her.
Indeed. She was a master of the keynote address as well. Her 1976 speech at the Democratic National Convention is still studied by orators today for its rhythmic power. It's fascinating how this specific date connects these 2 very different paths toward justice.
Moving from the halls of Congress to the world of literature and music, we also celebrate the birth of W.H. Auden in 1907. He was a Pulitzer Prize-winning poet who captured the profound anxieties of the 20th century.
Precisely. I often think of his poem Funeral Blues, or The Age of Anxiety, Maya. He had this incredible range, moving from deeply intellectual political commentary to the most intimate expressions of grief and love.
And we can't forget the musical revolutionary born on this day in 1893, Andrés Segovia. Before him, the guitar was largely seen as a folk instrument, something that didn't belong in a concert hall. Segovia changed that entirely.
He really did, Maya. He spent his life proving that the classical guitar deserved a place on the world's most prestigious stages. He transcribed works by Bach and other masters, forever elevating the status of the instrument for future generations.
It is a day of profound voices, whether through speech, poetry, or strings. And that brings us to our fact of the day, which is a global observance, International Mother Language Day.
That's right. This was established by UNESCO in 1999, but the origins go back to a specific and tragic event on February 21st, 1952. Students in Dhaka, in what was then East Pakistan, were protesting for the right to use Bengali as an official language.
Daniel. The police opened fire on the demonstrators, and several people were killed. These language martyrs became a symbol of the struggle for cultural and linguistic identity. Their sacrifice eventually led to Bengali being recognized as an official language in 1956.
Today, it serves as a reminder of how closely language is tied to our sense of self and our fundamental human rights. Whether it's the words of Malcolm X or the native tongue of a student in Dhaka, the power of the voice is the recurring theme for February 21st.
It certainly is. Thank you for joining us for this look at the legacies that shape our world. For more episodes and historical insights, visit deepdive.neuralnewscast.com.
We will see you next time. Deep Dive is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. Explore history every day on Neural Newscast.
This has been Deep Dive on Neural Newscast, exploring the moments that shape today.